Well, hi everyone and welcome. Thanks for joining us today and for our final presentation of the four-part series that will focus on email success campaign strategies for travel professionals. And before we get started, just remember that you're all muted, but we welcome your questions and you can type in your questions at any time in the question area on the right-hand panel of your screen. I'm Joanie Ogg and Tom Ogg will be joining us at the end of the presentation to take any questions if you have them. So this webinar is about email landing pages and their best practices. And presenting the most compelling landing page to prospects is the key to converting a click into a lead. And just never forget that the sole purpose of your landing page is to do exactly that. When potential clients click on your email to take further action, your landing page should speed them right to take the action that you want them to and nothing else. And if you never lose sight of this specific function, then your landing page will prove successful. So here are things that you might want to consider when building your email campaign and your landing page. Before we go into the elements that make a great landing page, let's take a look at the 5 biggest mistakes made when creating a landing page. 1, the landing page loads slowly or not at all. Once a prospect clicks on your CTA to take the next action, if they're delivered to a landing page that does not load immediately, you run the risk of having them click off the page and move on. Always make sure that your landing page loads instantly. Using a complex response form. This is important. Sure, you want to capture as much information as possible from your new prospective client, but asking them for too much information is going to convince them to move on without completing the form. And once you've captured their email address, you have numerous opportunities to build information in future emails to them. Another thing is inconsistent format. Serving a landing page that is inconsistent with the source page is a sure way to lose potential leads. Any element of a landing page that is inconsistent with the source page adds confusion and indecision and leaves the reader to the conclusion that whatever is being offered may be inconsistent with their expectations as well. And then there's the weak CTA. The CTA on the landing page should be completely consistent with the CTA that got them there in the very first place. It should shout the user benefit and never be common looking at all. Avoid generic CTA text in favor of the benefit that the person clicking on it is going to actually receive. And then there's the high bounce rate. If your landing page is experiencing a significant bounce rate, it is simply not working for you and it needs immediate attention. If you think about it, visitors arrive on your landing page to take action. If the action that they take is to leave without accomplishing what you want them to, your value proposition just has not been made. So here are 10 things that you can do to make your landing page as effective as possible. Your potential lead has already seen your email or whatever vehicle you're using and made the decision to pursue your specific value proposition. And once they click on the CTA, they should be delivered to the next step in the process that you're wanting them to pursue. When they arrive at the landing page, it should be instantly recognizable as the next step. If it requires any amount of time for the reader to understand what to do, you will immediately start losing potential leads. Make sure also that your images, if any, are optimized into their smallest possible package. Review your HTML, CSS, and Java code and do everything that you can to minimize it. If you can create the page without CSS or Java, so much the better. And remove anything that is not absolutely necessary to get the page to function properly and maximize its loading speed. Make sure that the entire landing page content appears above the fold so that the reader is not required to scroll to get to anything. You have to go below the fold for whatever reason, complete the most important elements above the fold, and then indicate that there is further information below the fold with a description of it, like use testimonials, TOC, or whatever the information consists of, so that you can limit the number of people that scroll past your CTA. Always make sure that a CTA is visible to act on, even if you go well below the fold. Your CTA should be exactly the same as the CTA in your email. Now make sure you follow all of the criteria for creating the perfect CTA, including being benefit-oriented, high contrast at the top of the right-hand side of the page, and also next to the most important content on the page above the fold. And when a visitor clicks on your response form, it should be delivered immediately and only ask for the reader's name and email address. Make the email address mandatory, but the name optional. There will be plenty of time during the relationship building process that ensures once the prospect is in your database to capture that additional demographic and psychographic information. Honest testimonials will go a long way to reaffirming your visitor's decision to pursue your value proposition. Video testimonials are even more powerful as long as they're believable and focused on to the point. Of course, the best testimonials are from people that may be known in your marketing area or your niche. And sure, you want the visitor to sign up for your offer, but you should also give them your complete contact information. By providing your telephone number, name, address, email, fax, Skype, and any other contact information, you set the stage of cooperative sharing of information and make it easier to trust that their info is going where you say it is. The best place on your landing page for this information is either on the left or the right-hand side of a sticky header. And along with your contact information, you should provide links to your social media presence. Many visitors may want to check you out on your Facebook page or other social platform just to make sure that your value proposition is consistent with your overall online presence. You should craft a second mobile-friendly landing page and give your readers the option to choose how they see your value proposition in your email or your other marketing tools. Optimize your mobile landing page by using a single column layout, bullet points instead of paragraphs, and minimize any graphics or video, and make sure that it loads really fast with the CTA above the fold. While your CTA may be in the perfect location and stand out like a sore thumb, don't hesitate to lay out your landing page to make sure the reader will have no problem finding it. Use arrows or other graphics. Use images that are looking at it and make it obvious that the reader should click on the CTA. So you can see that creating the perfect landing page isn't rocket science, but creating a landing page that converts requires focus and attention to detail. Saying as much as you need to motivate clicks in as few words and graphics is really the challenge. Never try and stop testing your new ideas and your formats, and you track your results on an ongoing basis. Now, here are some things to remember from this particular webinar today. The function of a landing page is to convert clicks into sales. These 5 issues can cause poor click-through rates from your landing page. Slow loading, a complex form, an inconsistent format, weak CTA, and high bounce rate. And follow the 10 tips on making an effective landing page for optimum results. So we hope you've enjoyed this information. We're going to open up the webinar now for your questions. Tom Ogg, our expert guest, is here with us to answer your questions. And remember, you can just keyboard your questions into the questions area on the panel you see on your screen, and we'll get to as many as we possibly can. So Tom, are you here?
I'm here and ready to answer questions.
Cool. Welcome.
I do want to take a second and share. During the last webinar, there was a question about, how would you craft a email campaign for an over-the-water bungalow? And I thought about it after the webinar was over, and there's just it would be so easy to come up with a short white paper on 5 things you have to know if you're staying in an overwater bungalow to enjoy it to the maximum effect. and people, I believe, that were booked on a overwater bungalow would jump on that.
Well, thank you. Good. I hope hopefully somebody, whoever asked that question before, is on here or maybe going to be able to watch this recording. Anybody have any questions that you want to hit Tom and I up for at all? I don't see too many in there yet. I've got a couple here, Tom. Number one I see looks like, what exactly is a landing page and how do I get one? Well, that's a really good question.
A landing page is it's generally always a web page. It could be a web page inside your website, but disconnected from your website. You would not want any of your navigation on it. Its sole function is to get people to click from your email, hit that landing page, and then take the action you want them to. Generally, you want to get emails and get the right to send further emails to the person that's pursuing it. The best landing page, and if we go back to that 5 overwater bungalow tips, if you were able to get the URL 5 overwater bungalow tips you must know.com, that's going to add a lot of value to the landing page, and then you would just put up a single one-page website that you will use as a landing page. So its sole function is to convert clicks from an email or your website or wherever you're marketing into action that you want the individual to take that clicked on it.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Another question I have is, what exactly is a bounce rate? If you could describe or explain what that is.
You know, when you're on the web and you click on something, a YouTube video or a website or whatever, and you go to it and it's just not what you want, you immediately click off it and go someplace else. That's a bounce.
Okay.
And typical bounce rates are 20-30%. If you've got a bounce rate of 50% on a landing page, your landing page needs attention.
Okay. So that's a good benchmark for that then. Okay. Somebody else has a good question as well. How do I optimize an image?
Photoshop is one of the tools. That's a tool that I think is a standard for image creation and optimization. But many images, especially if you're using stock photo images, they're 300 dpi and generally quite large files. You can take them into Photoshop and reduce the DPI to 72 dpi, which is as good as it can be seen on the web, and compress that. So instead of having a 2 megabyte image, you might end up with a 2,000 kilobyte or 2 kilobyte image. So and that's going to load a lot faster than something that's a much higher image. And you can do that. You can optimize images for web presentation, and you don't lose really any quality at all, because the 300 dpi image, stock photo image, is really meant for high quality print production, whereas the 72 dpi image is meant for a web presentation, and they both look exactly the same.
Okay. I have a question that isn't about this, but it relates to all of what we're talking about, with our clients and such. So I'm going to share it with you. Somebody's asking, what application do you recommend for a good contact and easy to use client base, that would maybe be something they could utilize with these processes we're sharing? Apparently she had been using Outlook or something and it's not easy to use and lost their client base contacts, which is a horrible thing to have happen, and I'm so sorry to hear that. So that would not be a good day. So what do you have any quick recommendations of different client base? I mean, we know we have the industry standard ones, that we can suggest, but anything outside of that?
Well, I hear two questions there. The first question is, if you're emailing out of Outlook, stop it. Immediately stop it. Go to Constant Contact or MailChimp or the professional email marketing companies and start sending your email from there. And in that instance, they will allow you to compile information of the emails that are effective for you. They'll give you the open rate, the send rate, how many people actually open, how many people click. You'll find out everything. Outlook is just not it's not a tool for sending emails.
It's not professional
enough.
enough.
It's not professional. In order to have an effective email campaign, you have to comply with the CAN-SPAM Act, and the way to do that is to use a professional email server. And then the creation of the landing page, any HTML tool will do. If you want to make incredibly good landing pages, the tools you use would be Adobe InDesign, and then you can create just awesome landing pages. And then you simply take that and convert it into an HTML document, publish it on the web, and you've got a great landing page. For the information you collect from your landing page, then you want a CRM. Again, if you're using Excel or Outlook, those just aren't, they're not going to do the job. So you'd want a high quality CRM that you can build your relationships with. And the way you start one is the second somebody gives you an email address and downloads your white paper on overwater bungalow, tips, then they're giving you permission to send them subsequent emails. That is complying with the CAN-SPAM Act, and that's the professional way to go about it. So you just stick their email, and if they give you a name, stick that in your CRM, and then send out a second email, qualify, just saying, I hope you enjoyed the article, blah, blah, blah. Do you stay in overwater bungalows a lot? And just start developing content on that particular lead and tailoring your marketing to that lead based on what they want to receive.
Okay. And then just following up on that question, and I'm just going to answer this one for you. Lisa, you're asking which one you think is easiest, Constant Contact or MailChimp. I've used both of them in the past, and personally, for me, I found MailChimp to be super, super easy. So that's just my personal recommendation. I'm sure other people would share other thoughts if they have it, but overall, I found that to be pretty point and click and pretty darn easy to use. So it looks like that's the end of our questions, Tom, and we're getting some thank yous, we appreciate those. Thank you very, very much. Anything else you want to say, Tom, or we'll go ahead and close our webinar soon?
Yeah, this wraps up the email marketing webinars. There's 4 of them. They're all stored in the community, and so you can view the webinars there. And if you have any topics that you would like to have webinars on, send us an email, or send me a message in the community, or send me an email, or at tom@tomogg.com, and we'll certainly put them together.
Awesome.
And I really appreciate you guys being here.
Oh, totally. Thank you, everybody, for spending some time with us today. And we'll be in touch when we have the next topic and webinar that we will be sharing. So keep an eye on your hot topics and your emails from us, letting you know about those webinars. And again, as Tom said, this is being recorded, and this will be posted on the community as well as on travelprofessionalnews.com. So thanks, everybody. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.